Hey, hello everybody. How's it going? We are here with my good friend Arlene. I am so excited to bring Arlene over to you because she is a wealth of knowledge and she's so fun too. Arlene, welcome.
Hi there, Roxanne.
How's it going?
It's good. It's all good.
I am so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. Wanted to ask you if you can tell us about yourself and how you got into the business of selling real estate.
Well, I had been living in Chicago with my family, my husband, and two little kids, and my husband got transferred to New Jersey. So I moved to New Jersey. We moved to central New Jersey, which I was a little familiar with, but not much. And I wanted to meet people and get involved. And then I had little kids, so I was not working. So I got involved with League of Women Voters, and I somehow ended up as their fundraising chairperson. So I went out and I fundraised, and I went to a realtor's office in my local town, and I asked her for money, and she listened to the whole thing, and she said, you're very good at this. Have you ever considered a career in real estate? I said, no, not really. So she started telling me about it. And I thought, well, if we ever want to invest in property, it would be good to have the background. So she said they happened to be giving the class at the local high school. So I signed up, I took the class, and I thought, I'll just work part-time. Ha, ha, ha. So I got my license, and in New Jersey, you have to put it with a broker. You can't. You work with a broker. So I picked a local broker, and I wore my name tag like you're supposed to do. Yeah, and I would go in the grocery store at the deli counter, and I'd order the stuff for my kids, and people would say, oh, you're Aaron's mom. I didn't know you had a real estate license. Could you help us? And before I knew it, I was in the real estate business. So I worked for the local broker, and then I started taking classes because I wanted to find out more about it. And the local broker really didn't have such good training. You're sort of on your own. So I was taking some classes for GRE, which is like a master's in real estate, graduate real estate education. And I was in the classes, and I would have lunch with people, and they would start talking about awards and prizes and breakfast luncheons and learning experiences. And I thought, oh, so I talked to that broker, and I switched brokerages, and I went with a bigger regional broker. And then they were expanding, and they weren't really in my area. So I didn't want to take floor time because it wasn't an area I knew. It was up in Basking. I was in central Jersey, but I was near Princeton. So at Basking Ridge, Burnsville was the office I was working out of.
Explain to our viewers, what is floor time?
Okay, floor time is when now it's like almost obsolete now, when you sit at a desk, and any business that phones in or walks in is yours. You get that customer. But I didn't know that market. The only reason I was doing that is I had a contact with a builder, a local builder, and this company had a very good new homes division. So I did not take floor time because I went on one tour of houses in the area, and they were so expensive. I thought, this is not for me. So anyway, so the builder did say, they did a presentation for him that he would work with the company, providing I was the person who was going to run the job. So I thought, well, gee, that's good. So I represented a builder, and we did, it was a semi-custom builder, so it wasn't a mass-produced builder, and I represented him locally, and that went very well. And then that project was sort of done, and the company asked me if I would manage, if I would consider management. I said, no, I never, why would I want to do that? But then I thought about it. I liked the idea of having a base salary, of having benefits. So I accepted a position with them as manager, and it was a startup office. So I had to recruit a lot of people and train them. And it was different from sales, very different. But I liked it. And there, if you're a manager, sorry about the helicopter noise, but I'm outside on my porch and I'm near the hospital. Anyway, so I did that for maybe seven years. And then I decided I wanted to go back to selling because I liked the idea of being in control of my life. And as a manager, even though it was more 9 to 5, it was very straining because you were responsible and you really had to, you were a go-between between the broker. This was a big company. So I went back to selling. I thought it would give me an opportunity to make more money. And I decided to go with an office in Princeton, New Jersey. So I was there, I don't know how many years, but it was great. I really liked helping people. There was a big relocation factor. A lot of people were relocated to the Princeton area, Somerset, New Jersey, New Brunswick.
Yeah. You muted yourself, Arlene.
Oops.
There we go. Now you're good.
Okay. No, I just this is why I shouldn't have done this on my cell phone. Anyway, so yeah, I had an opportunity to work with some wonderful people, diverse group of people. I really liked helping people get into the housing that they wanted. A lot of people were transferred into the Princeton area, and they thought, oh, Princeton, wonderful schools, I want to live in Princeton. But they were coming from towns that were like Atlanta or somewhere in Texas, and real estate was much less expensive. So they get to Princeton, and they wanted new construction, 3,000 square feet for $300,000. So it's like, I don't have A, I don't have B, I don't have C, but I'll show you what I have. So, and I did have one experience that I will remember for many years. The husband had accepted the job. He came up here. He was all excited. He brought the wife up on a house hunting trip. And she was in the backseat of the car, and she said, she told me what she wanted. They wanted new construction, big house. They were coming from, I believe, a suburb of Atlanta, where there was lots of new construction. This is in the 70s, I guess, or 80s. So she says, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. She says, because Princeton is old housing completely. So, and very pricey. So it was sort of a struggle. She started crying. She said, I want, the priorities. We had to prioritize what was more important. And the new construction was important, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. And I finally, she was pretty hysterical. She was not going to move. She was threatening not to move. So we finally took a couple of trips, and we finally found a house that was new construction. It was a little smaller than she wanted. It was on an acre of land, had a good school system, And it wasn't the fanciest builder, but it was adequate new construction. And I had explained that they can just go with the standard finishes, and then in time they could upgrade and put in granite counters and put in, do some upgrades as they lived there. But at least it got them there and moved, and they were very, very happy. So that was just one experience. I know. And then, I was in the business for a lot of years, and the nice part about it was I had a lot of referral business, and people would come back to me. And one client, I sold her a house, then her boyfriend, I sold his house, then they had to buy a house together, and then they sold that house, and they were building new construction. They were he was doing it himself, and then they were going to sell that house, and he called my office, and at that time I was semi-retired, not semi-retired, but I have a house in Mexico, and I was going there in the winters for part of the winter and going back and forth. And so they called the office and they asked for me, and the person at the desk says, because we still have floor time where if somebody comes in the office or calls in, they're your customer unless they ask for someone in the office. So they asked for me, and they said, she's not here. I think she's in Mexico. She's retiring, I think. Can I help you? He said, no, we're looking for Arlene. So he said, I don't think she's going to be back for quite some time. What do you need? How can we help you? He said, no, thank you. He emailed me, told me, I said, I'm going to be gone for 3 more weeks or whatever. He said, we want to sell our house and we want you to do it. So they waited for me to come back, and we listed the house and we sold it. So that's sort of like my career, and then I retired, and I told everybody I was tired. It wasn't just retired. I was in the business for over 20 years, so I really but I still feel like I have a little chip in my arm, because I still get the real estate bug, especially like staging and things like that, which I used to do. In fact, so this is before there were really professional stagers, and I had a couple who wanted to buy, and they just walked in. They were a walk-in. That was the source, and I worked with them, and then it was very clear they had to sell their house in order to buy. I said, let's go look at it. So I looked at their house, and I said, you know what? We need to do some work here. So I advised them they needed to get rid of the pink kitchen. They needed to take up some really shag carpeting. It was pretty bad. So they did everything I told them to. And they said, Arlene, you know what? We like our house. We're staying. So, and they said, yeah, but we'll remember you. Well, two years later, on a Sunday, I get a phone call from one of the big time builders in the area, Toll Brothers, and they said, there's some people who are in our office and they want to buy a house, and in order to get a commission, and they want you to be the realtor representing them. And they said, but you have to bring them there. I said, I can't bring them there. I was doing something else. And they said, well, that's the rule. And the people said, these are the same people that didn't sell their house with the pink kitchen and the shag carpeting. And they said, no, we wanted Arlene to represent us. So they said, okay, because they knew me. And they said if I came the next day and did the paperwork, they would let it go through. So they remembered me. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years later. And I got paid on their purchase, even though, so there are a lot of good things, and there's some horror stories too, but I won't go into that. Our time is up, right? So,
well, thank you. You are such a great storyteller. It's fun just to listen to you tell these stories.
Well, I had a wonderful career. I had lots of opportunities. And it was tough retiring because I really liked what I was doing. I liked helping people. I didn't look at it as a sales job. My background was in psychology and education. I'd been a teacher. So it was an easy transition. And I remember when I was managing, because I know a lot of the people that you work with are thinking about maybe getting a real estate license. And I was a manager, and people would come in, they say, oh, I really want to sell real estate. I love looking at houses. And, I just go, because that is not what does it. You don't just go look at houses. You have to be wanting to help people. And now it's so different now, because back then we had a lot of issues with mortgages, and banks wanted to give people money, and we would have to say, no, don't go in over your heads, put 20% down. But I can do it with 5% down. Not a good idea. And after what happened back then, most realtors were very scrupulous about really trying to keep people within their means so that they didn't get into bad situations with housing. So, those are some of my reflections on my career. I was in it for 20 something years. I would say to people, oh, how long have you been in real estate? I say, oh, years, because it gives away my age. I'm happily retired.
Happily retired and happily retired and happily moved to San Diego, right?
Yes, I did. My kids both were living in California, and my son said, Mom, you may as well come now and enjoy it. And I did. So I've been here. Once you have that real estate gene, I had purchased a property in Mexico as a winter getaway. But then I rented that out. I didn't get away as much because my real estate business was pretty good. So and then I bought another house, and I kept the first house as a rental. And I have long-term renters in there now. But
you have 2 houses in Mexico?
Yes, I do. They're near Guadalajara. There's an area called Lake Chapala. It's Mexico, but it's a very large expat community. So a lot of people go there. Texas people go there in the summer, and Canadians go there in the winter. So it's lovely. This year, of course, it's not of course, but it isn't rented. My renter canceled because of COVID, which is understandable. So I own only 3 pieces of real estate right now. My house in San Diego, and then 2 in Lake Chapala, Mexico.
Which I saw some pictures that you have posted, and it was a beautiful place.
Yeah. Well, yep. I like it there.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Arlene. This was very educational, and it was lovely to hear your story, and I'm sure our audience is going to learn a lot about real estate. That it's not just looking at houses; it's a lot more to it than that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Enjoy. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.